Welcome back, y'all. This is the Black Owned Podcast with your host, AD. We got Leo and our brother from another mother, Bab, in the building again. So we are back again talking about the 2022 NFL Draft for our Houston Texans. And if you guys want to start it off in roundabout, I know we all know about the first two picks in the first round. Derek Stingley, the cornerback from LSU, the Kenyon Green, the offensive lineman from Texas A&M, offensive guard from Texas A&M. And then we got a host of other picks we can go down the list as well. But where do you guys want to start off with that draft talk today?
Well, I think it's just important that we just straight up and preface this by saying that we were all just, everybody on our podcast was just blatantly fucking wrong by what would happen. And I mean, I think in this case, it's a good wrong because if you're going to go down punching like this, I would rather just take the big swing on the talent that we all seen from Stingley his freshman year. And I mean, when you factor in the injury concerns that popped up about Evan Neal, and then shortly after that, Icky's shoulder. It made me kind of look at everything very level again, and then see that even if healthy, it might be worth the risk to gamble on Stingley's upside. So I thought it was a great pick, and I think that because of how talented and how much upside he has, like we literally got someone that was thought of to be like pretty much the consensus first overall pick his freshman year at number 3. And it's like I say, like it took everything pretty much to go pretty wrong for him over his last 2 years for him to fall to 3. So, I mean, in this case, I'm happy that I am wrong. I was wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and I guess following that up, with Kenyon Green, I mean, we fixed the need. We got the best interior offensive lineman in the draft. Most versatile interior offensive lineman in the draft with, experience playing tackle, can physically probably still play tackle in the NFL. So, and we traded back from 13 to do it. We gained assets, which helped us move back up in the second round to get John Mechie, which we'll talk about later. But I mean, I think the first day of the draft was a definite, the best, I mean, honestly, the best kind of first round I thought we could have had,
Yeah, and hey, to piggyback off that, Leo, it's pretty funny that the Texans basically had no problem just showing their hand on as far as what they were going to address with their first two picks. The entire offseason we had heard that they want to get better at the run. I mean, every single, I think, assistant coach on the offense talked about how they needed to get better at the run, every single one of them, right? And that's the main thing they talked about. And then, Lovie Smith was very blunt and very obvious and apparent that we had to get better at cornerback. Like, he just kind of straight up said it. And it's weird because, that's not really Lovie. He never really does stuff like that. And he came out and was just like, hey, our cornerbacks are ass. So like we're going to get better there, And so it's pretty cool to see that. And I think, when we take a look at this entire draft here in a second, we knew that the draft was going to be predicated on who we took with pick 3.
Right.
And the whole rest of the draft was going to happen in a certain way, depending on who we picked with the third pick, whether it was an edge, offensive lineman, or a corner, right? And we knew that was kind of the big 3, but, depending on who we took, it was going to play out the rest of the draft for us, right? Now, I do think the Texans drafted the biggest what-if player, right? Like, in recent history. Like, Derek Stingley coming out of high school was a unicorn. Right. Everyone was just like this. If the rule was that he could just go straight to the NFL from high school, Derek Stingley is probably one of those guys that could have done it. Right. So like Derek Stingley is that what if player on like, as in like, what if he's completely healthy and what if he's back to his like superior form? That's a top 5 cornerback in the NFL, like week 1. Right.
Yeah.
Well, Okay, well, hey, let's start reading down the picks. Y'all wanna?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah,
Okay, so our first one. What a great
yeah. We
introduction
talked.
for our first one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my thoughts about Derek Stingley is that I feel like he is that talented of a player that you just, honestly, you just couldn't pass him up.
Mhm.
That we talked about Neil, we talked about Iquanu, we talked about the tackles, to wits end, and I feel like we, was still kind of missing the overall talent of Derek Stingley and how immensely talented he is, and how that talent would put him on top of most boards, if not all teams' boards.
Right.
So the fact that he was the best player available, no doubt about it. And that's what they went with, and I'm happy about it. So
Mhm.
we can go on down the list.
yeah. Derek Stingley was a pretty obvious pick. So
Mm.
I mean, Leo, did you want to touch on Derek Stingley at
Oh
all?
no, I already
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, then we go down to Kenyon Green. So I went to Atascocita High School.
Mhm.
So I'm very keen to this guy. Obviously, very cool dude.
Mhm.
I don't know if y'all knew this. He won like Houston area UIL Offensive Player of the Year
As a
as
line.
an
As a
offensive
tackle.
line.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So um, he started immediately at A&M,
Mhm.
and he was their offensive lineman. He was. Nah, I'm not gonna go there. About versatile offensive linemen.
I'll go
He
there.
yeah, okay. He played every position besides center in his senior year.
Mhm.
But in his senior year, he didn't play center, but he played everywhere else. And like the morning that they were playing Alabama, they told him he's playing left tackle. You know what I'm saying? That and I mean, he did a pretty damn good job against Will Anderson, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty amazing. But yeah, y'all go ahead. Y'all touch on old
Yeah.
Kenyon Green.
I
Yeah,
think Kenyon Green was a great pick. My bad. I think it was a great pick. I think it was someone that they definitely probably targeted, and I mean, who knows how high he was up on their board? I'm pretty sure it's pretty damn high, but they knew that they were probably a little bit higher on him than a lot of other teams. And I think he's someone that is going to come in and make an instant impact at a position that we all had questions about who is a left guard. We got to start left guard.
Mhm.
Great pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, for Kenyon, I think it kind of lets us know that we have some sense of what the hell is going on with the
Yeah.
Houston Texans, because I think we've been preaching about interior offensive line, for months on end, even to
The
the
beginning of the
people,
franchise.
right? Even for the people that didn't want to hear it and didn't believe it and didn't see it, truthfully, look at the rose colored glasses. But he is the best interior offensive lineman. He's the best guard in the draft. He literally is a versatile player. I know versatility is a theme of this draft. I think we need to keep that in mind as well.
Mhm.
That he literally played every position during his career at A&M. He played center, he played guard, he played left guard, he played right guard, he played left tackle, he played right tackle. Literally every position on that offensive line he's played, and played damn good and very well. And he's been a consensus All-American each one of his years. Even his freshman year, he was a consensus All-American.
Mhm.
And I think that people tend to, because he was such a heavy favorite going into the draft of being a first round pick, a high first round pick. I think going into the draft, all the mock drafts had him in the top 10.
Yeah.
But because I think, people get a little stir crazy with drafts, and they go into a, wormhole and start looking at other players and bumping up players over certain players. When we drafted Kenyon, it was like a mixed reviews as far as the national media was concerned with that pick. But
Mhm.
I honestly think that he was and is the best guard in this draft, and he's going to be immediate impact player for the offensive line. He's going to be the playmaker that Pep Hamilton said that he wants his offensive lineman to be. So
Mhm.
awesome pick. I followed him since he was a freshman in high school. So,
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of Kenyon Green.
I think just one more thing about Kenyon Green is it's unfortunately getting the stigma that we reached on Kenyon Green. You know what I'm saying? And, the idea of reaching on a player only matters to someone who's paying attention to a consensus that doesn't have Kenyon Green in the 15 or above, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
So if you look at it in relation to what the Texans need, this is a slam dunk pick. It's like one of the most obvious picks you can make.
Yeah.
Would you like to get better on the offensive line? Draft an early offensive lineman.
Yeah.
That's that, there's the problem and then there's the solution, right? Okay. Hey, AD, why don't you lead us into the reason we didn't get Kirby Joseph here? Oh, but go ahead, Leo.
I
What's
just
up?
had one more thing, and I mean, I'm not trying to be a homer, but man, I mean, we might have gotten the best offensive lineman in the whole fucking draft, and I say
Yeah.
that at being high on Evan Neal and all that, but we might have gotten the best offensive lineman in the draft. So I'm happy as fuck about that. But yeah, so
So
why we didn't get Kirby Joseph?
yeah, and then we go into the second round at pick 37.
Okay, now this is gonna be the debate one right here, y'all. So
This is gonna be, and I'm gonna preface this by saying this is, I'm happy with the pick, but I feel like this was the most confusing pick. And to me, from everything that we've been reading and talking about and going through, I think this was one of the most confusing picks for me as far as like scheme, and it kind of makes us shift the narrative on where the Texans are going in the future. With the 37th pick, the Houston Texans took safety Jalen Petrie from Baylor. He is a all-around player. He is a excellent tackler. He's an excellent run defender. He's excellent in short area as far as coverage. He's a nickel cornerback at times as well. And he succeeded at all those things at Baylor, and he was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year as well. So he is a ball magnet. He's a playmaker. He is the honey badger of the Baylor defense, especially coming from Dave's Aranda's defense from LSU as well. And he brought it to Baylor. So he fits specifically in that role, which leads to the follow-up question, where does he fit? But we'll leave that in a second. We'll just go ahead and address this pick with Leo and Bab.
Well, I mean, I was shocked when this happened. How do I explain it? It's like, it's not shocking that, like, because I mean, I guess that we didn't reach on them there. It's just a shock that I think we all thought that they were going to address safety, I guess more so being the deep safety. But, I think that we're building this defense to not only just contend with the 6 games that we have in our division. First of all, I think this was a move to make us match up better against teams, all the high-powered offenses, for lack of better terms. And I think that when you get a player that has his kind of versatile skill set in terms of like coverage, tackling, I mean, getting around blocks for someone his size, you know what I'm saying, blitzing, I think he's the perfect nickelback. You know what I mean? I think he's the perfect kind of guy. Like and like I've said, I guess I say a lot of crazy shit, but like in my opinion, like a slot, a safety and a damn will linebacker is in a 4-3 specifically, in a 2-high defense is the same shit to me. So like when you think about it like that, it makes this pick make perfect sense. I think that we're building a defense to be more of a 4-2-5 defense. And I think this makes you extremely more versatile. And I think that it makes you way more versatile when you start thinking about running dime sets, because he is the sub linebacker. He's going to be the sub linebacker, and you have a trusted slot in Tavir Thomas that can come in and take his spot in the slot. And then, you know, so to me, like after the initial shock of it made it make sense. And then I started also thinking about the roster. I really, after they made that pick, I just can't see Desmond King not playing free safety, and I can't see MJ Stewart not playing strong safety. So, like, to me, when you think about it like that, it makes perfect sense. You pair him with the Stingley, so Stingley's going to take away the number one receiver. I think that what I would do is I would put Jalen, he would be the joker, but I mean, I think that I would pretty much put him on whoever I think the quarterback is looking to first, whether that be the running back out the backfield, you know what I'm saying, or the tight end or the slot, you know, whoever he matches up with. But I would put him on like the quick, either blitzing him or put him on the quickest read, and then that's it. Like, but yeah, that, you know, that's why I think it was a good pick. Like when you think about it like that, it was a good pick, you know. So
yeah, Leo, you've definitely helped me warm up to it. When we first made the selection, I was genuinely shocked. Like I was because me being extremely stubborn, I eliminated the idea of ever drafting Jalen Petrie just because I was like, oh, we have a pretty good slot corner and Desmond King's on the roster, and Jalen Petrie is not the type of player that we would have, so we're not drafting him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how I thought of it. But he, in reality, fell into our laps.
right.
Like, he probably is a first round talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's very, very, very talented. You know what I'm saying? And a very smart football player. I always like going and looking at player interviews to get a better idea of like what kind of person they are. And I mean, okay, you can already picture what type of person he is because the Texans drafted him. He's a great kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, very level-minded, very nice and polite and well-pronounced. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's ridiculous. But, you know, the more, or I guess the longer he is a Texan, the more I'm learning about him now. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I looked at the PFF College tweeted highest graded seasons by a Power 5 cornerback since 2019. Number one is Derek Stingley in 2019 at 91.7. Number 6 is Jalen Petrie in 2021 at 88.6. And that's at corner, playing true corner, right?
Yeah. And not to cut you off, but I actually really love this pick now. Like,
yeah,
because
I'm starting to see. I mean, I'm starting to see it. You know,
because bro, like, okay, even if I think we're gonna run a lot of match, and so I think we are gonna play a lot of cover 2 and shit. But I think we're gonna start running a lot cover 6, and in both of those defenses, there is a cloud. So like, if in base defense, you could literally put him outside and just have him play the fucking cloud. And I think, like, whether or not you think he can mirror or do all that extra shit, he can do that. I mean, how is that? That's not that much different from what you ask a slot to do anyway. So let him just be reactionary. Let him just be a fucking football player. Like, I love this pick, man. I mean, it took me a while, but
me too.
I love it, bro. It was a great. I almost like this pick as much as I like the Stingley pick or the King.
He feels the most NFL ready. It's weird to say. You know, like, you go and watch him, he almost looks the most NFL ready.
He's physical. He hits. I mean, he blitzes. Like, I feel like Desmond King is like, when you live, like, he's a guy that you can live within the slot. But I feel like Jalen Petrie will be a guy that will end up being a game changer in the slot if we allow him to just do what he does.
Yeah.
And I think now that you have, my bad, I'm gonna let you go, AD, but now that you have a number one, what we think is a number one shutdown corner, it just gives you the versatility to just let Petrie just wreck the game. Let him just wreck it. But go ahead, AD.
So I'll be the contrarian of the group. I'm not as sold on him as you guys because I'm still in the mindset of traditional safety. And because I'm in that mindset of and that is still a need. I know that's something we haven't really talked about, but that is still a need for the team as far as a true safety. Um, so I look at it in that sense. You drafted a safety when you had, you could have drafted a truer safety later on or whatever and got just as much value. But actually, as a football player, he is a hell of a football player. He's a football guy. He is what your team needs. He brings nastiness to the defense, just like the other two. Stingley brings nastiness as well. He's aggressive at corner.
Mhm.
And Kenyon Green is hella aggressive at guard, and he finishes his blocks. He loves to dominate and pummel people. And you can say the same thing with Petrie. Petrie loves to dominate. Petrie loves to tackle. He loves to hit. He loves to make the play. And he is a team guy. So that is very, very important. So it is a good pick, y'all. It's a great pick to some. For me right now, it's a good pick. I'm in the observation mode. So, my view may change. I'm a little biased, because of how I view the position. But I feel like Petrie is a damn good football player and he will contribute with the team immediately. They will find a place for him to play. And it's undoubtedly, he's one of those undeniable type players where you have to put him on the field. You have to find, a way to make him comfortable and a way to put him on the field to be successful because he's going to make the plays you need him to make.
Okay, so AD, you got to lead us in with the next guy too, because this is your dog right here.
Well, I've been preaching. When we had the whole conversation about wide receiver in the first round, everybody was talking about Jameson Williams, and they were just hyping Jameson Williams up, especially in the spaces and everything like that. They were he had his own fan club. People were throwing parades for him and all it before he even touched the field.
Yeah.
Or even got drafted, let alone. And so my whole argument has been, even though he was the flashy receiver of the two, the big play receiver, the best receiver on that Alabama team for 2 years was John Mechie. Even with Jalen Waddle, John Mechie was the guy, the go-to guy. If they needed a first down, ball went to John Mechie. If they needed a touchdown late in the game, ball went to John Mechie. If they needed, a big play, whatever it is, they went to John Mechie. So he was the absolute go-to guy. He was that guy on Alabama's team. He was the one that made the engine run, which is why when he got hurt after Jameson Williams, was it before?
He got hurt before. He got hurt. So he got hurt the first Georgia game.
He got hurt in the SEC championship game. And you can tell the shift. The shift of the offense changed when he got hurt.
Right.
Because that first playoff game with Cincinnati, Alabama really ran the ball more than they even attempted to throw the ball. And that was by design because they didn't have John Mechie. So he is that guy. I love the pick. They picked John Mechie with the 44th pick in the NFL draft. Wide receiver from Alabama. He is that guy. He is going to bolster this offense. He's going to give Davis Mills a weapon that is outside of what they have on the roster. With Brandon Cooks and Nico Collins and other receivers, we've been down that list before. But John Mechie is an all-around excellent talent. He kind of slid down because of the ACL injury. And because, for whatever reason, injuries this year kind of knocked a lot of people back, whether it be Neil Ekwonu, as well as Devin Lloyd.
Nakobe Dean, could agree.
Not Devin Lloyd, I'm sorry, you're right, Nakobe Dean. I'm getting confused. Nakobe Dean, right. As well as okay, I'm gonna pass on that because I'm gonna pause and it's gonna look weird. But injuries played a part in a lot of people dropping in the draft. So I think that we found him and that we actually went up to get him. We traded, I think, a couple fifths that we got from Philadelphia and third-round pick as well. We traded our 68th pick and a couple of our fifth-round picks to move back into the second round to go ahead and get John Mechie. So I really, really love the pick. I think it's, one of those picks that gets you excited, and it makes you, be hopeful that the offense is turning the page from being 32nd and 31 in averages.
Yeah.
And also, another thing about John Mechie, before I let you guys go, he is an excellent run blocking receiver. He is the epitome of what you want in a run blocking receiver, which is another reason why I pointed out him being successful, especially for the Texans and them having that power run game. You need receivers that block, not just make plays. You need them to be willing and able blockers as well. And that's a great quality of John Mechie. Y'all go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I think it was a great pick as well. And I think this was a pick that was also made possible by the trading back to get Kenyon Green. And I feel like the reason why they trade up, we did give up a lot to trade up. We did. But I think this has to be a guy that they view as a potential number one option. You know what I mean? And I think that just going off of by what AD says, I mean, and what we all saw, that I think that is not a ridiculous thought that he could be a number one receiver in the league. And to be able to get that in the second round, in the mid second round, is great. It's just insane. And I think that it's a great pick, man. I mean, what else can I say? We got I mean, he's gonna be around Cooks for a couple of years, and then as Cooks, casually just passes, on in football life, with the Texans, we will have a number one receiver, and I believe that. So yeah, man, go ahead, Bab.
Yeah, so I agree. I was shocked, kind of in like a genuine, I don't know what to say about the Petrie pick, but with the Mechie pick, I was shocked that it was a reality. I wanted John Mechie so bad, and I just thought literally like John Mechie was this untouchable player for the Texans for some reason, like almost like it was just a pipe dream to think we would end up with Mechie, right? But then when they turned that card in and they traded up for Mechie, I was just like, wow, this is incredible. One of my favorite stats I've read about him, and this is what I had pulled up, is Houston had just 79 catches by slot receivers last season, which ranked 28th in the NFL. Mechie had 96 catches for 1,142 yards and 8 touchdowns last season at Alabama. Played 72% of his snaps from the slot.
Right.
Yeah, he is amazing. The fact that he was the best receiver for 2 years. I keep saying that he was, even with the Jalen Waddles of the world on that team, he was still better for Alabama. He was still the go-to guy for Alabama, even with Jalen Waddle, who was a first-round pick. Even with Williams, who this year he came into the fold. John Mechie was that guy. So I'm uber excited. And then Leo brought it up about him, developing with the Texans. He's really going to develop with Nico Collins, and you get that big body receiver, vertical receiver, and then you backdoor with the slot with Mechie. That's an awesome 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
That's the 1-2 punch that you can have, and that you do have for years and years, for at least the next 4 years. You have that combination. So, that's a positive to look at, and then that gives Davis Mills another option. Because I think we can all agree, after Nico and Brandon Cooks, it was kind of a who's who of wide receivers.
Yeah.
So, sorry if y'all hear my little dog.
Hey man, and I mean, another thing too is just Brevin Jordan. I mean, I think that he makes it like, bro, we have two Brevin Jordan. I feel like if there's a mismatch, he's gonna get open quick. I think Mechie gets open quick. And I think, between both of them, I feel like it's mix that in with the run game. It's gonna be held to stop in the future. You know what I mean? And I think having Cooks there, like everybody was talking about, why don't you trade Cooks? Why don't you trade, anybody on the team? This is why you don't trade them, because now like he can ease into his role. Like he doesn't have to. You never want to put a guy in a position where if he doesn't catch 90 balls his first year, it's a fail. And I mean, this just gives you the ability to not do that. And I think that this kind of, I hate to bring this up, but it's kind of similar to what we saw in New Orleans with Mike Thomas and Cooks. People will talk shit about Cooks and all this shit, but the fact of the matter is that he got traded, and after having a 500-yard season, Mike Thomas exploded after he got traded. And in another similar situation, not saying we're about to trade Cooks, but I'm just saying another situation is Rashad Bateman this year. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Rashad Bateman takes a big step forward this year, because I mean, there's a reason why the Ravens traded
up to get him.
But there's a reason why they traded
Hollywood Brown.
I mean? So like, and I feel like this is a situation like where he's gonna come in and he's gonna have a productive season. And I mean, I just, who knows what happens in the future? You know what I mean? So yeah, man. And then I guess, did you have anything else to say, Bab, about Mitchie?
Oh no, but I was wondering if I could lead us in with our third round pick.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. Okay. So, in the third round, 75th overall, the Houston Texans took Christian Harris, linebacker from Alabama. Now, this one like really shocked me, because I did not think that we were going to even address linebacker in the first 2 days at all. But the more it's another one of those things, the more I learned about this guy. You know what I'm saying? Apparently Lovie Smith was in love with this guy. Like, he thought that Christian Harris was exactly the type of linebacker he needed. Like that's the language he used in order to help run his defense. Right. Then apparently my weenie dog is having like a field day over here. When Christian Harris visited the Houston Texans, he said he like absolutely fell in love with the conversations he was having with Smith, like saying that he would love to play in this defensive scheme. So that's great. When I look at his measurables, just over 6 foot, almost 6'1", 220 something. I'm sitting and I watch him play. I'm like, damn, he's like a 20 pounds heavier Jalen Petrie. Yeah, I'm saying, like, literally, like you see plays of him just blowing up the backfield run or reading off the edge, or absolutely like destroying a guard on a blitz. You know what I'm saying? And then there you have another highlight where he's chasing a tight end that's 6 inches taller than him down a seam and then over a post and picks it off the sideline. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, what the hell? Like, who is this kid? And come to find out, he played wide receiver and defensive back all throughout high school and didn't play linebacker until he got to Alabama.
Yeah.
And then has the most defensive stops in Alabama history.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Who the last linebacker from Alabama was that we drafted?
D'Amico Ryans.
My favorite Texan of all time. All right, but hey, let me kick it over to you guys.
So with Christian Harris, he is a converted safety. Like Bab said, he played DB in high school. He came into Alabama as a safety, but Nick Saban, being the Nick Saban we all know and love, is that he is a master developer, and he puts you in the best place that you're going to be to succeed. And once he got to that linebacker room, and he got in the weight room as all Alabama players do, they go in the weight room and go crazy. And he just became a monster. He is quick. He's twitchy. You say that for defensive ends, but he's twitchy as a inside linebacker or outside linebacker. And he is very, very, here we go with this word again, he's very versatile. He's very versatile. He can, he can be, if you need him, he can be your coverage linebacker. If you need him, he can hit that gap, exponentially. I think if you look at, to me, I think he is a very, very upgraded version of what Kamala Grugier-Hill was for the Houston Texans this year.
Right.
The limitations that Kamala Grugier-Hill has, they're not there with Christian Harris. The fact that he fell all the way to 75 is kind of a travesty because he was projected as a second round pick from the get-go. He never, his stock never wavered, and the fact that he was towards the middle end of the third round was kind of strange. So I think he's an excellent linebacker, and that's one position that I feel like we needed to address, because other than secondary, on which was considered the worst position group on defense, the linebacker group left a lot to be desired. The fact that we were if we didn't draft Christian, we were going to, I'm about to call him Christian Smith. What's his name?
Christian Harris.
Christian Harris.
Yes. The fact that we drafted Christian Harris, because I'm about to get him confused with Christian Kirksey. We were about to trot out Christian Kirksey and freaking Kamala Grugier-Hill, and we were going to basically, Kevin Pierre-Louis, and we're going to basically trot out the same linebackers that we had last year, and they proved that they weren't going to be, up to par. And I think that had to be addressed. Even they brought in free agents as well, but I think this pick kind of solidifies what Lovey wants in his linebacker. Just like Stingley is the perfect Lovey corner, Christian Harris is the perfect Lovey linebacker.
Yeah.
And so now that you basically have 3 day one starters from these first 5 picks on the defense. You have an additional starter on the offense with Kenyon Green for day one. John Mechie may take a minute because I think they may be precautious with him because of the ACL injury. So he may not see the field as much early unless he just goes bananas in preseason. Then, once again, he's undeniable. But going back to Christian Harris, he is the guy, that I've always pictured. He fits in that Brian Urlacher, London Fletcher mold of what Lovey wants as the perfect Lovey linebacker.
Yeah. And I think it's the same kind of situation as I said with Mechie, and even with Petrie in a lot of ways, that he doesn't have to just complete, if you don't want to put him at middle that fast, maybe he plays weak side, maybe he only plays in sub, maybe you only play him in spots. There's not really any pressure on him as for when he has to beat those people out. And I think that, along with his upside, is great. Like you said, he's a guy that has range. I can see him being the Will or the Mike in this system. And I think that it was a great pick. And like you said, it was a pick that probably shouldn't have been there, but I'm thankful that he was, because he's probably one of the most athletic linebackers in the whole draft. Take away like Quay Walker, take away I think he's more athletic than Lloyd and Boomer. I guess Leo Chenal is up there too, but the fact that we got him in the 3rd round and he's so instinctual, and you say he has the most stops in Alabama history, and he makes plays all over the field. So I think it was another absolutely phenomenal pick, and it was great.
Yeah, his stats last year: 80 tackles, 5.5 sacks, 11.5 tackles for a loss.
Also, one of the best blitzers, one of the best delayed blitzers in college football. And Nick Saban doesn't run like a normal, just stupid ass, you don't have to know what the fuck you're doing. They're doing some intricate things, So you can't go wrong,
All right, AD, take us into the running game.
So far, the Texans have, Nick Caserio talks about hitting singles, doubles, and getting around and scoring runs. Well, he hit home runs with each one of his first 6 picks, if you want to call it now, which leads us into the next pick, which is pick 107, and that is running back Dameon Pierce from Florida. Feels an immediate need in a clusterfuck of a backfield we had before with Rex Burkhead and others. Just call them others because that's basically, even Marlon Mack, others. So Dameon Pierce is a 5'10"?
5'9", yeah.
5'9", 5'9", 215, 220-pound running back from Florida, and he is a bruiser. He is a tough son of a bitch, and he will give you everything he has when he's on that field, and that's the type of running back that the Texans do not have on the roster and have not had for a very, very long time.
We haven't had a player like that
Exactly.
a very long time.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he is a animal. He is a beast. He is a very, very, very talented running back. Underrated as far as receiving out of the backfield. He's very underrated, but he can get that done. And if you watch enough Florida film, he is very, very capable, more than capable, to be a receiving back as well. I think he is a 3-down back eventually, but he is, he is going to come into a running back by committee situation with the Texans, but for sure you're going to see the ball in his hands a lot. He is a Pep Hamilton pick. He fits the power run game to a T. He is your power running game running back, prototypical power game running back, and he's going to give with this pick and with the Kenyon Green pick and the AJ Can signing. You have Titus and Tunsil on the outside at tackles. To me, it'll be a travesty if the Texans run game is 32nd with the moves that they've made to address, the run game. And I think that we go back to saying we got a little bit of the pulse of what the hell the Texans need, because there's no way, oh, we lost Val?
No, I'm here.
Okay. I mean, there's no way that you make those moves in the draft without knowing that is an absolute need. The Kenyon Green signing and then backdooring with the Dameon Pierce, Pierce signing.
Yeah.
So I love the pick. As an A&M fan, I was hoping they got Spiller, but Spiller is more of his own running back, and but you just want them just to keep the home going, the home cooking going with most of the picks, which is another thing they had is with the home, home bodies with Kenyon Green, Jalen Petrie, as well. So, but what are you guys' thoughts about Dameon Pierce?
Man, well, my thing is like, I think this was kind of at the point where I was kind of really, really itching for a D lineman. Like, cause I was like, Inagbari was still on the board. Dominique Robinson, whatever the hell his name is, was still on the board. But I mean, one thing you always have to check yourself is you need it, but who is the best player on the board? And I think it's kind of undeniable. I'm always kind of partial to the lineman, and I always would kind of lean towards the lineman. But when I take away my own personal bias, I think at this point it was kind of undeniable that he was probably one of the better players on the board, probably top 3 players on the board. I think that, and if you listen to me talk about these guys, it sounds like I'm fucking selling a used car, like I'm fucking, everyone is a fucking Hall of Famer. But I'll say, when you see what the type of fire that he plays with, and like we were talking about, guys that you need. I mean, I think that the Texans, man, over the past couple of years have kind of just played uninspired, kind of, we haven't had a real passionate player at all. We haven't had someone that, would really fire up the crowd. Like, I feel like Dameon Pierce is one of those guys that, what I'm saying, you could see there's going to be 1 or 2 games this year in NRG where he wears the defense down, and by the 3rd or 4th quarter, he breaks for a 30-yard run, and he gets up and he fucking goes crazy, and the crowd will go insane. And I think he's the type of guy that, you know, can end up being the heart and soul of the team, like the image of the team, like the guy that we get behind, similar to like a Cushing, you know what I mean? But our offense, and I think that it's a cultural defining pick. And I think that, man, you know, regardless if he's ever a top 10 running back, I think this will be, you know, a pick that like was honestly probably a defining pick in this draft, even, you know, even with all the talented players that we got before, because I feel like he's the type of guy that, you know what I'm saying, will you know, make everyone want to go to war. You know what I mean? So I love this pick, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, you know, I only really need to say two things about this pick. I feel like I manifested this pick. And then also, Pierce had 16 scrimmage touchdowns last year, the most by a Florida player since Percy Harvin when he had 17 in 2008.
Oh, wow.
So that's my two things.
So, and he, just to add, you know, to kind of put the cherry on top, he fits the theme of this draft, which is he is a nasty football player. He fits into what they're trying to build. They're trying to build that tough, hard-nosed, grinder type of football team, and you need your nasty guys. And right now, each pick has their nastiness to them. So it's kind of the theme that's going on. There's a lot of themes in this draft that kind of tie into everything that they're trying to do.
All right.
With the next pick, I think it is a 5th round pick, right, Val?
Yep.
It is, if I'm not mistaken,
150.
150. Is this the Oregon State tight end, or is
So in round 5, number 150 overall, Thomas Booker,
There we
defensive
go. Okay, yeah.
Stanford.
Okay, I didn't know which one went first. So
you want me to lead us off on this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
So really with this pick, you know, one interesting stat is that like in every single draft in the history of the Texans, we have taken a defensive lineman since 2002, right? So, you know, it was at some point we were going to take a defensive lineman, like, and like not just historically because it's a need, right? All 4 spots on the defensive line are replaceable right now. So, you know, Thomas Booker not only feels a need, but like when you go and look at his interviews, I think this might be like the smartest person in the NFL. Like he is brilliant, right? Insanely brilliant. 6'4", 315 pounds. The dude looks like a linebacker though. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't look any bit 300 pounds, but you know, then you go look at him right next to an offensive lineman and you're like, yeah, that guy's 315 pounds, right? He's massive. One of my favorite highlights of Thomas Booker isn't even him making a play. He got a sack, and then in his celebration, he took 2 steps and then jumped 5 yards.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And they show it in slow motion. This 315-pound behemoth is flying through the air, and I'm just like, that you should. It's illegal to move like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that is insane. So, very smart guy, huge bitch. That's a great combination. You know what I'm saying? But y'all go ahead.
You know, Leo.
All right, man. So this is a guy that, you know, I think about some, you know, defensive interior D linemen that were taken late. One of them is I can't remember exactly when Akeem Hicks was taken. I think he was picked late. And David Onyemata, from both of them were Saints picks. I love how the Saints draft a lot of the time, and I think of guys that are big that have incredible movement skills, and this is that guy. You know, I guess there's obviously a reason he fell this far, but it's not because of his athleticism. You know what I'm saying? And I think that he's a guy that, like, another guy. Why do we keep veterans around? To help people like this? Because if he could get whatever the hell Malik Collins has, then he's going to be pretty damn difficult to block, and he's going to be a game record. He's going to be
he's almost 20 pounds heavier than Malik.
And probably more athletic.
Yeah.
So like if he gets that shit, then it's gonna be hell on earth for everybody that tries to block him, and we will have, you know, something I've wanted for a long time, like a true like guy that just fucks shit up in the middle of the fucking offensive line, in the middle, you know, and is there wrecking shit. And I think, man, you know, I hope this is the pick out of all the picks that if it hits, man, I mean, this one could be like, you know, incredible for us, you know. So like, man, I love it, and I think he's a good person, you know, smart like Bab said, and you know, I feel like if it works out, bro, it's a plus pick, you know.
Yeah, he is quintessentially a versatile defensive line. Here we go with versatility, that theme again. That's another thing. So he is versatile. He literally played he played the nose, he played the 4-eye, played the 3 technique, he played the 5 technique. He played all over the line at Stanford. He is a tough, you know, tough, rough, you know, son of a gun, and he is going to be productive. He is one of those players that you need to have develop a little bit. Give him, you know, a couple years. You know, he's not going to be immediate impact type of guy, but he can be immediate rotation guy,
right,
on the team. And I think that if they develop him correctly, they're not comparable players, but they are comparable by where they were drafted. Whereas you look at a DJ Reader, which the Texans drafted, I think in the 6th round from Clemson, as a defensive tackle, you can, if he can give that same productivity and become a starter and become a role player, that is going to be the steal of this draft. For the Texans, you know, for the Texans. And so I feel like if he gets the right development, you know, because I didn't know much about him, but after, you know, the Texans drafted him, of course we have to go in and look in, you know, the profile of the player. And like, you know, Bab said, he's brilliant. He's brilliant. He graduated early, you know, academic, All-American, you know, every year he was at Stanford. So he is an all-around great guy, which fits the culture need for the Texans as well. So I think it's a great pick. Especially in the 5th round at 150.
Right.
So, and going on to the next pick, if you guys don't have anything else to add to that.
No, I'm good, man.
So with the next pick is Tegan, and let me practice this. Hold on. Quitoriano.
Yep, Quitoriano.
Tegan Quitoriano, tight end from Oregon State. He is what we've all been asking for, is a blocking tight end to pair with Brevin Jordan. He is the quintessential blocking tight end for the Houston Texans. He gives you what you need in the run game, and he is a big body. Bab, could you give off his measurables? I think he's what, 6'4", 6'5"?
6'6" and 3/4.
There we go. Always coming up short. Yep.
Yeah. Heaviest he weighed in last season was 268.
So you're talking about a 6'7", 270-pound tight end, basically. And so he is going to be a behemoth on that line, on that end line, and he's going to be he should be a reliable red zone target. I know that he wasn't targeted much at Oregon, so his tape his film as far as him receiving is kind of limited, because they didn't use that effectively in Oregon State at all. But I think him, just because of his pure size, you know, to pair him with Brevin, hell, you could put him in there and have Brevin out, and with Mechie, you can run 4 wide with Brevin and Mechie as your inside guys, and Nico and Cooks as your outside guys. And even Tegan can be in there, and he can, you know, produce as well down the seams and down the middle. So I think that you kind of open yourself up like that as well. He is another developmental player. He is going to need maybe a year or two to develop. So you have to give him that opportunity. I think the later you get in the draft, you have to kind of be realistic with your picks. I think we hit home runs with like the first, six picks. Like you basically got starters with your first six picks. The rest of the guys you have to kind of let them develop, and build your class that way. But I think he is he's a good value pick at that. At what was it, 162? I think it was, or 170. Okay. So 162 and 166 went for the John Mechie trade. Okay. But any of you guys have any comments on Teagan?
Oh, I mean, same stuff y'all said. I mean, and Teagan is the reason why you don't want those little bitty ass edges that we always talk about. This is the fucking reason why you don't want a little bitty ass edge, because I mean, not even on run blocking. I mean, just getting chipped. I mean, that shit weighs on you throughout the game. You already small, and then you gotta deal with tonsillitis, and then you got this big ass motherfucker just constantly just fucking hitting you in your goddamn ribs. By the end of the game, dude, if you're small, it just weighs in on you, man. And those are the parts I think of football that people don't think about. You know what I mean? But I guarantee you that motherfuckers that build teams and that play think about shit like that. So, as long as he makes the team, it's a great pick.
Yes. So just to kind of put the cherry on top for Teagan, when you watch his film, he's lined up exactly and playing exactly the way we would want him to play in order to free up Brevin. Right.
Yeah.
He's in line. He's on the line of scrimmage. Now, he was putting 4-3 defensive ends in absolute fucking hell. Like, he was adding that extra chip block before going out on an out route. He would stay in for pass blocking sometimes. He was run blocking his ass off, getting to the second level. But then you would see him go up against linebackers, and he's just, like straightening their knees. Yeah, I'm saying, on these blocks. And he's got, 2 to 3 inches on each one of them, and he's probably got 20 pounds on each one of them, right? So, I'm intrigued to see if they maybe leave him out on an island against someone like the Chargers and lets one of those rushers go up against Teagan and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Because at the very least, Teagan's initial pop on his blocks is so good. He gets his pads down real low and he stings people real fast. His biggest knock is that he wasn't holding on to blocks long enough, and that's just contact balance. So former power forward in high school and basketball. One of my favorite YouTube clips of him is they were talking to him about how in a crucial moment in their basketball game, they went to him on every single offensive drive and allowed him to score inside, bang inside, and they trusted him on scoring free throws in the clutch moment. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And it goes to him being athletic as well. I think he's underrated as an athlete. So I think that needs to be taken into consideration as well, as far as him being successful as a route runner. And I think you brought it up, Bab, is that his route running wasn't bad at all. His route running was actually very, very good. They just didn't target him well at all. That was just, kind of a, just bad, but Oregon State was Oregon State. They were kind of bottom of the barrel in Pac-12. So, you got to find the daisies out of the shit pile. So,
we finally went, what is it? Double one side of the ball, back-to-back picks. Is that what I hear? Yeah. So we kept going offensive, defense, defense, offense, defense, offense. And then we finally doubled down on offense for the last.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So with the last pick, go ahead.
No, go ahead, AD. I was going to say you lead us off with this one.
Yeah. So with the last pick, I think it is pick 208 or 207, I think.
207 or 205.
205. Okay. So with the 205 pick, the Houston Texans took Austin Deculus, offensive lineman from LSU, another SEC product that will rain heavy as well. He is a 4-year starter. at LSU. He is, according to experts and according to, many scouts around the league, he is a plug and play right tackle. Straight from the draft. And you find him in the 6th round, kind of he was one of the ones that when they drafted him, I think we all were like, what the hell, who is this guy? You have to go back, and look at him and research him. And he is very, very productive. He is, he's a big guy, big guy, big tackle, play tackle at LSU. More than likely, he's going to project as a guard in the NFL, probably with the Houston Texans. But he gives you that developmental offensive lineman that we've all been talking about. And what's crazy, as much as we talked about building in the trenches and the offensive line, it kind of played out the way we all talked about it with them drafting 2 offensive linemen, one that's going to be an immediate starter and one that you're going to develop for the future. And Deculus is that guy that you're going to develop in the future, whether it be if you feel like he can play tackle, then he can come and be your developmental tackle and be eventually, if not be your one of your starting tackles, be your swing tackle for sure. And then backdoor, you kind of lost my train of thought. You guys take over.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Leo.
Oh, I mean, man, this is another pick that I think was a good pick. Like everything AD said was true. 4-year starter. Play really well against like really good competition, really good run blocker. A guy that like we continuously nastiness was on another championship team. We have multiple college champions on our team. I think it was a good pick. Like we said, I knew that they would take a developmental lineman, and I think this was a good pick, man. So shit. We'll talk about the tackle situation later, but I feel like this is it's never a problem to have another guy that can move around, and is a mauler, and we want to run the ball. Shit.
Yeah. So Deculus was a 4-year starter at right tackle for LSU, and he played in 61 games, and that's the most in school history.
Crazy.
For LSU. So there's no lack of experience. Yeah, I'm saying, and he blocked for a pretty damn good quarterback. Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, and he's had some pretty damn good running games come through and some pretty damn good receiving games come through. So passing games. Yeah, so there's no lack of experience with this. Yeah,
and him playing in the SEC kind of gives him a good view because he's played all kind of exotic defenses where he's played the Nick Saban Alabama defense or the Kirby Smart Georgia defense, or the Texas A&M defense, who brings a little bit different. All these defenses are pro style defenses, and they kind of get you prepared and ready for, especially as an offensive lineman. Same can be said for Kenyon Green. They get you prepared and ready to go for the NFL, and nothing will kind of surprise you when you get to the NFL, whether it be stunts, whether it be slants, however the defensive line or defense in general kind of tries to play you, he will be ready, for it. He won't be caught off guard or surprised by it. But with that pick, that did round up the Houston Texans draft. We will go into this next portion of the draft, which is the undrafted free agent part, where the Texans selected, Bab, if you can give me the amount of players.
All right. Hey, let's stop the recording right here real quick.
All right.